Hello and welcome to the Avid Media Composer tutorial. This is part 6, and in this tutorial basically I wanted to show a bit more basically on the editing process with the lift and extract tools. I covered it in the previous ones, but I wanted to put together a couple of different clips and show how each of the different modes work and relate to how you edit on the timeline, just to give you a much clearer, hopefully it will give you a much clearer picture of how the different tools work when it comes to configuring your edit. So we had 2 shots on our timeline which I'd already cut using the ripple trim tools, which were here, and the overwrite trim. So basically I just want to keep zoomed out on our timeline, and again, with the process of editing, one thing we want to do is arrange our subclips, make subclips based off our video rushes. So video rushes being our original camera files, and our subclips being just the subclipped marked in points of our original footage, which I've gone in and annotated some of them. So let's just construct a little sequence, and hopefully as I construct it I can show you how I use the different lift and extract tools to modify the edit. So first off, let's find a new shot that we can use. So I want to use this sweep shot here that I have. So let's put that down. Again, I apologize for the audio scratching. Now I want to put this shot in our source monitor first, I reckon, on the timeline as our opening shot. So let's move our vertical position indicator, the blue vertical line, to the beginning. So using our Splice In tool here, if I press this from here, this basically affects anything from our source monitor and it will bring it down into our timeline. So our position indicator is at the beginning of our sequence. Let's press Splice In. And as you've noticed, it's actually embedded this length of cut, this length of video, into the bottom of our timeline as our first shot, and it's moved our other 2 shots that we've had earlier forward to the right. So if I Command Z and go back just to showcase that again, the Splice In edits that whole shot in and moves everything forward. Now, if I wanted to be a bit smarter about this, I could go back and actually edit it a bit more here. So maybe make it start here, mark in, and then mark it out there, and then with my position indicator again at the beginning of my sequence, add a Splice In. I now have a subclip which already has my mark in and mark out points as an edit already onto the timeline itself, which is very useful. And then from this point we can refine it further. So having watched it, I could probably trim that a bit more. So using Command Z bracket, out bracket, we can zoom in. In fact, I'll keep it zoomed out so we can see how the ripple trim works. So using our ripple trim here, again, yellow is non-destructive, red is destructive on clips. We can shorten our clip. So if we watch that, I want that to come in a bit earlier, so we can shorten that potentially. And as you can see, the ripple trim has actually moved only this clip. It's affected the time length, the overall length of this clip, but not affected any length of clip from anything before or anything after. So basically it's shortened the whole overall timeline, which is great, and it only affects that clip. So if we see that, we come into it, I think we need to trim it a bit more, so let's trim it more. Maybe more. And then maybe do the same to the clip on the left. Let's actually come back a bit now, maybe. That's not too bad actually. Okay, so now we've got that clip down there. And then just to showcase how the overwrite trim works, it destroys footage either before or after the clip you are changing. So if you can see it, I've zoomed it out on the timeline a bit. So if we were to move this, you can see now that the clip on the left is actually copying over the clip on the right, and if I move it back as well, it does the same from the clip on the right to the left. So basically it's destructive, and as you can see, if I've lifted it even more, it actually leaves a black piece of video. So basically it doesn't perform a ripple edit, and it doesn't move adjacent clips to keep in line with the clips that you are changing. I hope that makes sense. So it's very important to remember that. I would only generally use the Overwrite trim for clips at the end of the sequence like this that I wanted to change, or the beginning, because there's no clips before or after. It is useful though if you want to copy over clips. Obviously there is a purpose for that when you have timing issues potentially. So if I just wanted to cut into that earlier, I could use the Overwrite tool for that. So maybe we wanted just to make that shot a bit longer. Yeah, there you go. So that works quite nicely there. So remember, Command S or Control S to save. So let's find another shot. We've got a pack shot here, which I think is quite nice. So we want to make good use of this. So let's say I want to put it, in the middle of the timeline. So I like that pan. Let's put it, I should put it in after the first shot. So again, let's just zoom in. I want to put my position indicator over where that cut was, and zoom out. And then using our Splice In tool, we can edit in the shot. So there you go. And we've edited it in. I could probably do with shortening it because it's too long, so I just want to come back out and reset. Make sure I'm still hovered over. Yeah, that's good. Zoom in a bit more. And then let's just watch the clip. And I think I need to go from there and then maybe there. So let's put that on our timeline, edit in, there you go, splice in. Now we have our cut. Nice. We could, if we wanted, to come back and use the Overwrite, but like I said, I just wanted to reiterate this is how the Overwrite tool works. It does copy over shots, so shots that come after the shot you're going to put in. So if I've got my position indicator there and I click the Overwrite, I've now copied over. This shot is now copied over that shot here. So I've just Command Z'd it so you can see. So let's apply an Overwrite, and as you can see, we've copied over our shot. Now that shot that comes after is just minute. So something to bear in mind with the Overwrite tool. So in many cases, always stick to the Splice In tool. So we've got that in there, which is great. And if we wanted to refine it further, we could use our two tools here, again, the Overwrite or the Extract Splice In tool down here on the timeline. So say I decide at this point, perhaps I would like this pack shot at the beginning. Let's just move it all the way to the front. And now we've actually swapped the shots over. So you can, that's a good tool for that type of kind of timeline manipulation. If we did it with the Overwrite tool instead, we get a slightly different effect, and it'd be more of a copy and paste job. So we've actually just written over our preceding shot, which is okay if you want to copy over your shot. But if we did that for argument's sake, I could easily just use our ripple trim tool and extend out that shot here, so we can bring it back. So this is again just using them in a slightly creative way. To get what you want, and then to delete that black video, just use your extract tool here, the yellow arrow, select and hold down shift and then press backspace to delete it, so like a ripple edit. So that is one way of doing that. You could use the Overwrite tool here, so if we were to select these, hold down shift and select the clips and zoom in, we could do a good old-fashioned drag and drop and just align all the way to the cut with the black Overwrite tool, sorry, with the red Overwrite tool, and then we get the same effect that way. So that is the other alternative. Brilliant. And one more thing as well, before we wrap up. If you also want to use the lift and extract tools more creatively, for instance, in this case, we have built-in camera audio on our clips, which isn't particularly any good. And in some cases, I think when I recorded it, I didn't even have the sound on, so the camera just interpreted it as white noise because it detected a microphone jack plugged in, but it was just noise that came out because I didn't phantom power the microphone. My mistake. You can basically get rid of audio, you need to basically shift and hold, select your video tracks to deselect them. And like I showed earlier, if you set an in and out point through the entire portion of your timeline, now that your video track is deselected, you'll have noticed your audio is highlighted here. So we can actually apply a lift function to that. And now we've deleted the in and out points. To get rid of your in points on your timeline, in and out points, the shortcut is G, so that deselects them. It's also more specific as well, so if you want to make more specific deletions on your timeline, you can mark an in and out point there, for instance, and then perform a lift. So that as well is possible if you want to basically delete specific portions of audio. But for the purposes of deleting audio in general off Avid, this is the only way you can do it, unless your camera doesn't have any sound, period. And it works vice versa as well, so if I deselect my audio and select my video, the same tools come up. So if I click lift, it only gets rid of them that way. So very good to bear in mind. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Take care. Bye bye.